That's a river. And every year, rivers and streams do something very unusual to anglers all across the southern half of the country. These tributaries draw people like a magnet out of their winter hibernation for the annual spring spawning run of the white bass. We highlight that for you this week. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
It's time for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southeast region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
Yes, it is an annual tradition, a rite of passage into spring. That time of the year when the white bass moves out of reservoirs and lakes, up rivers, creeks, streams, and tributaries of all kinds on its annual spring spawning run. It is the time of the year when country backroads are filled with trucks and cars parked off the pavement and folks lugging lots of fishing gear willing to hike for miles to catch these tasty, hard-fighting sport fish. It's my goal on today's show to give you a basic one-on-one lesson in where to locate these fish in an area near you and the gears and techniques you'll need to catch some of your very own as they spawn over the next 30 to 60 days, depending on where you live. It's going to be a lot of fun, and to help us do that, we've brought the brand new Tracker Pro Team 195 to the Brazos River system. This is a major river that cuts all the way down through the central part of Texas, through several major reservoirs, and has lots of spring spawning runs of white bass all up and down the length of the system. So we're going to launch the boat in the Brazos today and use it as a test tube to demonstrate how you can catch them in your area. And the great news for you, we're taking you around your local region for your local fishing reports from your own backyard, from your lakes, rivers, streams, and bays from our expert team of insider reporters. We're in for a lot of fun, got a great day today. Let's get this all started right now back at the FSN studios with your weekend planner.
According to the Salooner Tables, the best fishing activity this weekend should take place an hour or so after sunrise in the mornings and again in the evenings a little bit after sunset. Expect the sun to rise at 7:32 and set at 7:38 p.m. And evenings will feature a moon that is 87% visible. We'll be right back with all of the current fishing reports from around the area. And I'll return with professional angler Jason Christie to answer your Ask the Pro question. Back in a bit.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Tracker Boats. It's more than just a boat, it's a tracker. Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. Mercury Marine, official outboard of Fox Sports Outdoors. And Lowrance Electronics, find, navigate, dominate.
Hey, welcome back everybody. We're out on the river right now, and one of the things I like to do first is try to locate the white bass. A lot of times though in these rivers you've got miles and miles of area to try to cover. So how do you know where the white bass are spawning? What I like to do first is troll. I take a lipless rattling crankbait on a casting rod and reel setup, throw it out about 30, 40 yards behind the boat, let out a bunch of line, and then I use the outboard motor to just troll my way along. Try to keep the boat anywhere from 5 to 10 feet of water, something like that. Vary my speed, vary my depth, and just try to figure out exactly where they are. If you, there's one right there, I think. Take that motor out of gear. You can see behind me, I always like to stay on the inside sandy, shallow part of the side of the river. There will usually be a deep, steep side and a shallow flat side. I like to troll the shallow flat side. That's a decent white, probably a male. There we go. You can see I use a little small lipless rattle bait and he caught it right under the chin. But that's a good white right there. We are keeping white bass today. So that one is going to go in my Tracker Pro Team 195 live well right there. But again, if you hit an area where you get 2 or 3 bites, catch a couple of fish in one spot, that's a prime area to go back, slow down, and fish it thoroughly with a spinning rod and a plastic bait. I'll show that to you a little later. Locate where the white bass are, locate where the congregations, the schools of fish are. You can catch a lot of them in a short period of time in a small area. And some people like to just troll all day long. There's nothing wrong with that. But Let's get you some fishing and lake reports to get things started.
Hey guys, Tennessee and Kentucky is on fire. We've had a couple of awesome weeks worth of great weather that's got the water warming up, the fish are biting, and I'm gonna take you real quick through the hottest bites in this two-state region. Let's start in East Tennessee with Lake Chickamauga. If you need to catch a 10-pounder better bass and you live in Tennessee, Kentucky, that's the #1 stop, the #1 destination. Lake Chickamauga in East Tennessee. It's on the Tennessee River. Swim baits, lipless crankbaits, and shallow square bills. Alabama rigs, they're accounting for some really, really big stringers and really big individual bass. Big smallmouth, if that's your goal, let's talk Dale Hollow for a minute. Those big female smallmouths right now are getting ready to spawn, and they're as fat as they'll be all year. Take you a swim bait, a jig, even a spinner bait, and look for those transition areas where they move between deep water and spawning flats and bays, just those little intersections between deep and shallow water. And if you fish enough of them, you'll run across a giant smallmouth on Dale Hollow. In West Tennessee, you got two places I want to tell you about. #1 is another big bass factory. It's called Gibson County Lake. Relatively small, full of giants. #2, Reelfoot Lake. You go there, look up Blue Bank Resort. A guide, Billy Blakely, a good friend of mine, he can put you on a big limit of crappie. So guys, we'd love to have you in Tennessee, Kentucky. It's good right now. God bless.
Got him. Right where he was supposed to be, or she, hopefully. Oh, that's another female. Up you come. Look at that girl right there. That's another hoss for you. Beautiful fish right there. And I'm just pitching them back there in my 2 live wells. Hey, I mentioned that feeder creeks were really important. I want to show you something. If we can pan just a little bit to the right, just around this corner, there is a active flowing creek running right into the river system here. So this is the intersection between a creek and the main river. That is very key. Here's why. Those fish come in off the reservoir, off the main lake. They migrate up the river, but they will turn and go up any feeder creek where they can get current and a little bit warmer water coming in, and that's where they'll actually spawn and lay their eggs. Now the males, again, go in there first. The females go in there, they broadcast those eggs. They don't make a nest like a largemouth bass does. The eggs float along, the males fertilize those eggs, again, in that current, and then they hatch out in the river system, migrate right back to the lake and start that cycle over again. And I want to end up right here by showing you, I guess it's actually the biggest white bass I ever caught. It was last year. I turned into a little side creek and loaded up on some huge pig females, including one that weighed something like 2 pounds and 15 ounces. Legitimate 3-pound class white bass, and those are pretty rare, at least here in Texas. Let's get you some more fishing and lake reports from your local area.
Hey folks, Captain D here with your Carolinas Report, brought to you by the Dead Dog Saloon, located on the Murrells Inlet Marsh Walk in beautiful Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. This restaurant needs to be on your list of destinations to visit when you're in the Grand Train area. Open 7 days a week for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We are the restaurant that you'll come back to year after year. And remember, here it's always about the food, the view, and the music. Let's talk about freshwater in North Carolina right now. My good buddy Greg Carrigan up on Lake Norman says that the crappie are starting to stage. They're outside of those deeper coves and those creeks, setting up right now, catching them on jigs and minnows. Also in North Carolina, over on Lake Gaston, Captain Zach Royce, let's talk about the feats that he's done over the last 3 months. I'm sure you've heard about it, but he's set the North Carolina state blue record for blue catfish, not once, but twice, setting it 24 hours apart from each other, breaking his own record. And he has released all these fish to live another day. I'm sure in the next couple months, you're gonna see Mr. Zach catch another big fish, and he's gonna release that one as well. Way to go, Zach, good job. Let's go move down to South Carolina. Captain Jason Bennett over on Lake Murray, our good buddy up there, is up using planer boards into shallow areas right now this time of the year, targeting those schools of bait up there that are holding the stripers. He's having great trips right now, catching some big fish. Also over on Santee, our good buddy Captain Stevie Pack said it's happening early. He said the fish are starting to stage, they're moving up the rivers, already getting into that spawning mode. He said he's having a great time catching stripers, but also catching some real big catfish right now as well. And if you're in the Carolinas and you're starting to see a lot of big bass boats, a lot of beautiful trucks, well, that's because the Elite Series is coming to the Winyah Bay area. That's right here in my backyard. They'll be here April 7th through the 10th. This has been your Carolinas Report, brought to you by Dead Dog Saloon. Remember, fish smarter, not harder, and keep your chaos organized. Got him. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, don't get in the trolling motor. There's a good white bass for you right there. I guess that's probably a female, a little fatty right there for you. Want to explain to you, that goes in the live well, want to explain to you what's happening here. These fish will push up these rivers in schools, migrate up into the deep holes. Now what I've got right here is a big deep hole. You can see that big boulder and this big cliff in front of me right here. There's a big deep hole of water that's probably 15 feet deep right in here. These fish will move up the river, stage in that deep hole. They'll sit there and let the water warm, let the temperature warm, and let their eggs ripen. The females will. When they're ripe and ready to spawn, then they'll move on up the river, fan out on the sandbars, go up the little creeks and tributaries, and actually broadcast those eggs in the current. They don't make a nest like a largemouth bass does. They spawn in the current. The males come in behind, fertilize in the current. Then those fish will hatch and go right back to the lake and start the cycle over again. It's very interesting, but if you catch a fish like that in one deep hole, chances are there are others right there, so you want to stop, make a lot of casts, fish those deep holes. You can catch a lot in one spot and really get well. Hey, we're going to take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. We'll be back for more white bass spawn fishing from the Brazos River in Texas, talking about how you can catch some as well.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. Lose, fueled by passion, driven by innovation. Feel the difference. Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. And Strand Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability.
There he is. Yeah. Just off those rocks. All right, that's a fatty there. Look at the belly on that white bass, will you? All right, there it is. A little soft plastic on a lead head. Man, that's a female getting ready to spawn right there. Well, you know, this is just an example, and I mentioned at the very beginning that we're using this as a demonstration test tube today to show you how to do this. You can duplicate this at hundreds of locations all throughout the Southeast and Southwest regions of our viewing area. So what I thought I'd do is compile a little list here. That one's going in the live well for you, but there's another good white there. Back in the live well, that one goes. Compile a little list here and show you where you can go do this depending on where you live. So we're going to go to a little graphic right here and give you some idea where you might go this coming weekend. In Tennessee and Kentucky, it's the Tennessee River and Cumberland River. In Georgia, it's the Coosa, Ettaway, and Oconee rivers. In Alabama, the Chattahoochee. In Mississippi, Bayou Pierre off the Mississippi River. In Oklahoma, the Illinois, the Arkansas, and Neosho are all good. In Arkansas, the White and Arkansas rivers, and in Texas, the Trinity, the Sabine, the Neches, and the Brazos, all springtime white bass spawning hotspots. All right, beautiful day, a lot of white bass running up this river and one near you. Let's get you some more local fishing and lake reports.
This part of the program is brought to you by MirrOlure, the right tools to catch them. From topwater plugs to subsurface models to deep running lures like the deadly Heavy Beam. Turn on the bite anytime. Tie on a MirrOlure.
Well, spring fishing is well underway along the Gulf Coast. Alabama Captain Kevin Olmsted tells me that while Mobile Bay is dark and muddy from rain over the last couple of months, the trout fishing in the tidal rivers well up the rivers, particularly the Dog and the Fowl rivers, is the clearest, and they're catching trout, pretty good ones, in 3 to 6 feet of water using MirrOlure Mirror Dines with a slow retrieve to get it down. The fish are still a little lethargic. He says there are also some sheep's head. They're catching those with shrimp around docks and bulkheads. In Mississippi, the fishing continues red hot. They caught a 9-pound spotted sea trout off the Katrina Reef, which is south of Deer Island recently. The Berry Island fishing for trout is just getting started and will get better every week for at least another month. They're catching redfish all over Biloxi Bay on spoons, spinnerbaits, and also shrimp, live shrimp or dead shrimp. Sheep's head fishing has been great along the inshore waters of Mississippi. They're catching those around structures, bulkheads, docks. Anywhere where there's barnacles are catching sheep's head. Fishing for them is excellent. And the offshore fishing for wahoo, tuna, yellowfins, and blackfins continues great. The yellowfin tuna fishing around the horseshoe rigs is great. They're catching blackfins there too. Wahoo, 50 to 70 pounds are beginning to be caught around the weather buoy. In Georgia, Savannah Captain Matt Williams is catching sheep's head in the 48-pound class. He's getting those on the nearshore reefs when he can get outside. And when he can't, he's fishing on the inshore shell bars using fiddler crabs, and he's catching plenty of those fish too. Well, that's it for the coast. Get out in the water when you can and take a youngster with you when you go.
Welcome to the Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi Freshwater Fishing Update. This week's action is brought to you by Lake Guntersville, Alabama. Boasting 69,000 acres of clear blue perfection, the area offers hotels, lakefront cabins, public boat ramps, and restaurants. If you prefer big fish in a big pond, Guntersville is the right destination. www.fishguntersvillelake.com. Now, the largemouth bass are in a pre-spawn pattern on Guntersville Lake in North Alabama this week. And many of these fish are going to be 3 to 4 pounds, but 5 to 6 pounders will show up, and you have the possibility of hooking a 10-pound monster. Two patterns of work on these fish. The first is throwing a rattle trap along the riprap near bridges in North and South Saltee Creek. The other is to target grass flats near deeper water and look for these bass on points or indentions in the grass edge in 8 to 10 feet of water. Over in southwest Mississippi, now's the time to be on Bayou Pierre for some white bass action. These scrappy fish are moving up out of the Mississippi River on their spawning run. You want to be fishing near sandbars or where muddy water is meeting the clear water out in the main stream. Throw small, rattling crankbaits for the best action. The big flathead catfish are moving to the shallows and feeding and spawning in March on Clarks Hill Lake up in northeast Georgia. A live brim or a shad is the right bait. You want to fish it over hard bottoms near the old creek channels.
Be sure to join Fox Sports Outdoors again next week, Thursday night at 6, or catch the repeat airing Sunday morning at 8:30. And you can always watch the latest episode in full HD on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Plus, catch up on all past episodes by clicking the archive button, and see lots of how-to and product videos by clicking the how-to button. Also, stay up to date with the latest fishing news, videos, and photos by clicking the follow button on our Twitter feed. And get lots of that same info by clicking the like button on our Facebook page. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. Motor Guide Trolling Motors, because accuracy matters. And Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Champions aren't born, they're made.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro question. This week, Steven wants to know, when will bass move shallow to spawn? We asked Bass Master Elite Angler Jason Christie for the answer.
You know, I think contrary to popular belief, there's fish that live shallow year-round. But I'd say the majority of your fish, you know, they start moving shallow usually the second full moon of the year, which is your February moon. There'll be some fish move shallow, and they'll kind of hang up there. And usually they start spawning. You know, I've seen them spawn as early as 56th. I think a bass kind of has an internal clock. You know, they're going to go at the first chance they can, and I've seen 56 and I've seen as high as 70, but I'd say the peak range would be around the 61 to 63 mark would be when they're going to start spawning.
Thank you, Jason. If you have a question for one of the anglers, visit our website, follow the Ask the Pro link on the right side of the page, and let us know. Now, one of our viewers wins a new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
Each and every week, someone wins a free pair of top-of-the-line Costa sunglasses right here on the Costa Catch of the Week contest. I'll tell you how you can enter in just a moment, but first, here's this week's winner. He is Jeffrey Const of Morganton, North Carolina, showing a 31-inch rainbow trout he caught at Little Rock Creek in North Carolina. If you'd like a chance to be our next winner, just go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Right-hand side of the front page, click in the Costa Catch of the Week area and follow the instructions to send us your photo. And you can see all of the Costa frame and lens styles by going to their website by clicking on the Costa logo right on the front page of our website. There you can see all of the great frame and lens styles, including the frame style I was wearing on this week's episode. It's called Switchfoot. Next up on the Academy Right Stuff feature, it's the right gear if you'd like to go catch some white bass this coming weekend at a creek or river near you. This is the brand new Lew's Speed Stick and Speed Spool Mach 1 series. It is a factory matched combo set that comes in both a casting and a spinning combo. Now the casting is the one that we use to troll with, and it's got a fantastic perfectly matched white speed spool reel that has both a magnetic and a centrifugal brake system matched to an IMA graphite rod with great feel. And then the spinning combo is very similar. It's got a Lew's Speed Spin reel matched to, once again, a Lew's Mach 1 Speed Stick IMA graphite rod. You can get these matched in a combo at your local retailer. And the lures that we used, of course, there on the top is a little lipless rattling crankbait. I like a small size to troll for these white bass. That is a 1/4 ounce size in either a chartreuse, shad, or chrome color. And then when you slow down and fish deeper for them, you use a lead jig head. That's a 1/4 ounce lead jig head with the Bobby Garland baby shad on the back, and it's the big baby shad. That's the 3-inch size in either a chartreuse or a pearl or a white color. One of the things I have the most trouble with is staying in the moment. I tend to either dwell on the past and what's happened then or project what's going to happen in the future. God is the only one who can move and either rewind or fast forward along the timeline. I'm frozen to the present moment. I can't control anything that's happened in the past, nor what may happen in the future. The best I can do is live for today, make the best choices I can, and let yesterday and tomorrow take care of themselves. I hope you enjoyed our trip up and down the beautiful Brazos River in Central Texas today, but don't forget that the same principles and techniques that we talked about out there will work in any creek, stream, tributary, or river system near you that holds white bass, and you can catch a big basket full to take home and fillet to eat on your own dinner table. And don't forget to take the kids, the senior citizens along. They will enjoy this very much for the next month or two, depending on where you live. Don't forget to join us on social media for lots of info that you won't see here on the television show, and everything hubs around our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. It's one-stop shopping there for everything you need regarding fishing. We'll see you next week. Until then, I'm Barry Stokes saying be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.